And we're live. Hello, everyone. And my name's Nick Hawkins, and welcome to Friday Night Pint Live. As you can see, a couple of the boys are missing tonight, and Dan's running a little bit late. But I have got two very special guests to bring in to get us started. But before I do that, I've got to read you something because I've got a little graphic here. 1 second. The race to become William Hill's final one standing is heating up. We're getting down to the wire with some big winners getting closer and closer in the different games going on. But if you're like me and were knocked out of the final one standing pops ages ago, now's our chance to get back in there because a brand new game is open to enter. And this jackpot prize is huge, £100,000. I'm literally locking my first pick in now. And I'm going for Brentford to beat Wolves because Wolves' form is so bad, and that's what I hope to happen. So if you forgot to enter or got eliminated by picking the wrong team, you can join a brand new game for a chance to win up to £100,000. Remember, the rules of the game are simple. Pick a team each week. Win, you're through to the next round. But if you lose or draw, you're out, and you can only pick each team once. Even better, if you're still alive in a current game, you can also enter the new £100,000 game. So you can join us, this new one, and continue in your existing game at the same time. Double your efforts in the race to become the final one standing. Either way, starting fresh or continuing your streak, just make sure you locked in your pick by this Saturday, December the 20th at 3 p.m. The first match doesn't count, so you can't pick Newcastle or Chelsea. That's kicking off right now. But you can make your pick right away, and you have all the way up until the deadline to change it. You can enter now. You can download the William Hill app by scanning the QR code, hitting the link below, or searching for William Hill in the App Store. It's completely free to play. Remember, it's UK and Ireland only, 18 plus, and always gamble responsibly. T's and C's with the full terms are in the link in the description. So there we go. There's the jargon out the way. So yeah, join the final one standing. Click that QR code, join the final one standing. But as it's Christmas and it's coming up to the danger zone in terms of relegation, we're going to be discussing, is Nicholas Fulkrug, who may be moving on in January, is he our worst ever signing? But I can't discuss it on my own, so I've got two very special guests, and a lot of you will be very happy to see who I've got with us tonight. It's a bit of a Hammers Chat takeover. So first up, I'm going to bring in my old mate, Gio.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm looking forward to it. I always like being in the hot seat. It makes a change.
Yeah.
I feel a bit weird because normally I'm in charge of the topics. Gonzo's used to being in the hot seat, if you like, but I quite like it. So bring it on. Let's go.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can get some help from Gonzo because he's in next. Gonzo, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. You?
I'm very well, thank you. Merry Christmas to you both, by the way.
Merry Christmas.
Just sum up. I mean, Friday Night Pint is coming up to Christmas. It's getting into that point where it's going to be it's fight or die, isn't it? In terms of relegation, how are you feeling about it?
Nervous. Really nervous. To be honest with you, I'm worried. I can't think. I've been relegated. We've been relegated before. I've been relegated loads before, but I think the game's grown anyway. There's more and more money in the game, isn't it? Which obviously going to feed into talking about Fullkrug and all the money wasted. And up until this season, it really seemed like if you got down to Championship, it was really hard to break into the Premier League. And I just think for us now, because we've lost Upton Park, and I won't be convinced otherwise, I do think that the London Stadium is a disadvantage. I don't think we have home advantage. I don't think we can scare the opposition players. I don't think we can intimidate referees. And I've always thought if we ever got relegated in this place, and for anyone that's ever done the tour around there, when you do the tour, you can book it with the London Stadium. It's really like palatial inside. And if you go and see the dressing rooms, they're really big. And I guess, a lot of that stuff was built for the Olympics and stuff like that. And I just always imagined Championship clubs going in there, particularly the way you can sort of drive in. The coach can sort of drive in and it's sort of barricaded off. I know Upton Park was like that a little bit, but people, you can still see them through the railings and, and shout at everyone. I just think you almost go there as opposition. Your whole journey is unimpeded. You go in there, you get in there, and then you're going to go and, oh, wow, look at this. In this place, beautiful. Look at these lovely showers. Look at this lovely changing room. The crowd can't bother me. They're miles away. I've just always thought that it would be really dangerous. So, I'm more nervous about relegation.
Too welcoming. Yeah. That's the place, yeah. Yeah. So let's start off the discussion. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone in the chat. First up, we're going to be talking about Nicholas Fulkrug. We will get a little bit onto that later on, and the prospects of relegation and what would happen, and have we got the bollocks to get out of it? But Nicholas Fulkrug, looks like he's going to Milan in January. Are you surprised it hasn't worked out, either of you?
No. It always felt like the wrong signing from the start. And I think sometimes I don't mind gambles and stuff, but he was, if we go back to Skamaka and Haller, and we'll get onto these in a second because it's relevant in its context. Skamaka and Haller were reasonably young when we signed them. They were at the top of their game, arguably, in each division and stuff like that. So you understood why we were bringing them to West Ham. There wasn't really that reason for Nicholas Fulkrug. His age, it wasn't just a bad signing, it was a bad investment as well. And we've got history of overpaying for players, and Giller is a good example because he's possibly leaving in January. He's not worked out, but we'll get most of our money back for him. In Skamaka, we got a lot of our money back for him. So the financial hit isn't that bad in the end. You go, right, okay, we've lost some money, but we get away with it a little bit. But with Fulkrug, you don't even have that like get out of jail card with him that you can sell him and get most of your money back. We're practically giving him away because we want him out that badly. It's been a terrible signing. I think the warnings were there. I don't know why we brought him in. I know why Fulkrug come to West Ham. He's told us the money. He come to the Premier League for the money.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that. You know, it's his job. A lot of footballers come to West Ham because of the money. So I'm not offended by that. But his intentions were very clear from the start. He basically, some players go to Saudi to make a load of money, then come back. And I think Fulkrug's done his version of that, which is I'll go to West Ham, make a load of money, then go back when I'm ready. So yeah, it's been an absolute terrible signing. And some players I'm sad to leave. I'm sad to see some players leave because they haven't worked out. I cannot wait to see the back of him.
I agree. I totally agree to you. To be honest with you, I was 50-50 on it because I think it was hope more than anything that we finally would find a striker that would fit a system, because we've had some, listen, I think some of the strikers we've signed, they're fantastic strikers, but it just didn't fit in.
Yeah.
Haller, like case in point, played for some top clubs in Europe, done really well at some top clubs in Europe, came to us and just, I couldn't stand watching the guy, if I'm honest. Is Fullkrug, I'll push this one over to you, Gunnar, is he our worst ever signing? I can think of about 3 or 4 that could gazump him right. I could think of one right now, Maxwell Cornet, that gazumps him.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, unfortunately, we haven't got to really think too hard about it, I guess. The thing is with Fulkrug is that there's a money attached to it. And I guess now you've got to be an accountant really to like follow football, because there's amortization and stuff like that, which I don't even want to factor in. You could just look at strikers, and I think there's expectation. I have no expectation of Fulkrug. I had none, because I sort of was aware of him, but I didn't even believe we were going to sign him. I thought it was like a smokescreen. I thought, no, we're getting this Duran. I thought we were playing a game. Oh yeah, by saying, like when Sullivan did the thing when he wanted to sign Willie Carvalho, and he sent the email and he said, I'll go and sign someone from Paris Saint-Germain instead. I thought he was doing that. I thought he's not going to. You remember Gio? We did the video, and I said, no, we're not going to sign him. So I was really surprised. What, we've signed him? Okay.
I think it was a bluff gone wrong. I really do. I think it was a bluff that they, I don't think Villa pulled the trigger and they thought, well, we've got to sign someone.
Yeah. Come on then, sign him. Yeah.
Vlasic
Vlasic was a big waste of money. They can't blame that one on Steiten either. I don't know whose fault that was. I mean, it was a big waste of money. When we did a little bit before we started the video, and you said, "Oh, hold on, we'll have a chat about Fullkrug." I thought about it, and I thought about Simone Zaza, but we got out all right, didn't we? Because we did like a Harvey Elliott on him, and we said, "No, we're not going to. He's not going to play enough games.
We're not playing you anymore." Yeah,
yeah. So it didn't cost us anything. So it wasn't really a horrendous signing, was it?
I mean, the fact of the matter is this: under this regime, and they're under so much pressure at the moment, but it's really coming to light now. They're poor business handlings. They're poor transfer handlings. Like the money we've spent for people right now. Somebody just put it in the thing. I was just about to say, 40 million for Kilman, who's an awful defender, doesn't fit the system. When I go back into, you could go back so far and look at people like Felipe Anderson for £40 million. and we sold him for 2. You know, the signing of Hilaire, I don't think he was the worst ever signing we've made, but in the fact that we got half the money for a guy that was, you know, clearly had the pedigree, it's just bad business dealings. And when you go through the list of it, I think that's a reason why we are where we are right now, and the fact that they've just done it season after season after season, and time after time and time again, and it's got to the point where there is no one else to sort of pull them out the hat. You know, there's no one else to sort of save the day. That they're all as bad as each other. You know, there's 1 or 2 players now that you're expecting to sort of save us every single week, and it can't keep on happening.
No. Hello, Dan. Sorry, I just seen Dan pop up there.
Yeah, sorry. I just realized as I popped in, I sort of messed up the sponsorship banner. It was covering your faces, so I don't know if we.
It's probably an improvement.
I just stuck the one in the corner there. Yeah, so
that's all right. Good to see you.
You too, mate. You too.
So sorry. Was you just? I don't know whether I think I've thrown things off. Was you just about to say something about the?
Better answer saying.
Yeah, Nicky was just saying about how much you love Fulkrug and you're gutted he's leaving.
Yeah. It's quite a statement, actually.
Yeah, well, you know what? Like with the Fullkrug, I was thinking this on because I've seen some visceral reactions to Fullkrug, and while I think he's probably a contender for the worst signing based on whatever we get for him, the fact that we're loaning him, and what we spent on him, what he's contributed, and then what we'll probably end up getting back, which will probably be very little. I think he's definitely a contender for worst signing, but I've seen a lot of anger towards Fullkrug. The fact that, you know, he made that statement last season, you know, and how little he's contributed. But I don't blame Fulkrug, really. I don't think he's been a bad egg. I don't think he's been a bad apple. The fact that he wants to leave is understandable. He knows that he doesn't fit. It's just not a good fit for the club, for him, and he wants to leave. We don't want him here. He don't want to be here. So we're at the same point, you know what I mean? So I can't blame him for wanting to go because we want him to go. It's just one of those cases where when it comes to Tim Steidten, some people may I defended him on a lot of things. I think he's overhated. However, this signing will be forever a stain on his reputation because it is a horrific signing. On paper, you know, he's got Champions League pedigree, German number 9, all of that stuff. But I just don't think there was enough that due diligence done on his injury record, on whether he fit the team, whether he fit the league, all of these things. And it just was like, well, we're not getting Duran, so we need a striker. Let's go get Fulkrug. That's the problem. So whatever happens to Fulkrug, I bear him no ill will whatsoever. Wish him all the best. But this signing, I just need it done. And the loan thing, yeah, go on.
I did wish him all the best. I really did wish him all the best because there was points last season where I know he was injured for a long time, but you know when he come out and done that interview where he said a lot of things about a lot of things that we were thinking about people and thinking, right, yeah, he's exposed that. But you know what? The last sort of 12 months since that happened, it's sort of like changed my mind because he's just as guilty of it. I've been at 2 games now where he's come on the pitch and we're really fighting and scrapping for our lives. And when he's you know, he did an interview publicly telling everyone that the people ain't good enough last year. And then you come on the pitch and you're walking around. And I mean, and I literally mean walking around and you're on that amount of money. And, you know, I can forgive lack of talent and I can forgive lack of fitting in. I can't forgive lack of effort.
I think he's just playing his game, though, Nick. I think he's just playing how he plays. I think that's just how Fulkrug plays. I think you're going to get someone running up and down like a fucking blue arse.
Bournemouth was a different level, Dan.
That was the game, wasn't it? And he was much better the game after.
Yeah, Liverpool, he came on and started putting tackles in.
Yeah.
But Bournemouth, he might as well have had a T-shirt on that's saying, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like you were watching. I think he's I watch a little bit of Bundesliga and I think he's a good striker in that league and he's definitely got qualities and there's a reason he's a German international and there's a reason they use him as a super sub. And I think Tim Steiden's guilty of buying a striker he personally likes because Steiden's whole career is in Germany in the Bundesliga and I think he probably knows Fulkrug's game inside out. I think this is a good striker, really good pedigree, German international. I think he just thought, I'll get him to West Ham, but didn't really consider how he was going to fit in at West Ham. And I think it was just a horrendous fit. He got injured. And then you've heard Nuno just say, well, what can they do? He's injured, available, injured. What are you meant to do with a player that's constantly injured like that? But what I will say is I agree with Dan when Dan said, I don't think he's a bad egg or anything. I agree with that because who the media team use a lot in their interviews and stuff tells a lot, I think. Because I've known from Jack, mate, essentially. He's told me some players that are like Fanals, Souček, for example. Said when he has to go work for the club and they're there, he's like, oh, thank God, because they come in, they're so nice, and they're like, take as much time as you need, and they talk to him and stuff. He said, but there's other players that come in, and they're like, what we're doing, and the media team will say, oh, you're doing this, and they're like, oh, I forgot, right, let's just get over and done with. And I think Fulkrug's one of those that everybody likes. You see him in all the videos, you see him in the summer. The club did a bit of a PR campaign on Fulkrug to try and, I think, to almost disguise the fact that we didn't sign a good striker. So it was like, here's your good striker. So I think it's one of them that I don't hold much grudges towards him, but I do think that performance away to Bournemouth was pathetic. And I think it's been quite clear for a while now he wants out. But like Dan said, I think it's been quite clear for a while that we want him out as well. And I think loyalty in football works both ways, but so does the opposite, which is if you're going to tell a player to leave, don't be surprised when they go, fine, I'm going to down my tools then. Like, well, you can't say get out of here, but also in the meantime, putting 100% plays, I think it works both ways a little bit. And if you
do you think there's a chance that it may not be the player's fault, that the place is just so rotten and so full of bad characters that it's just a hard place to go to work every day?
I bet that is the case. All throughout the club from top to bottom. I bet it's hard to work in a ticket office. Honestly, I do. I think you're absolutely spot on. But it didn't help. Well, I say he didn't help himself. It's not his fault. You're not in charge of your own health. Otherwise, we'd all be fit and healthy all the time. But he got 3. They weren't major ones. They weren't ACLs, but they were like 3 injuries that all took a couple of months. So I think at the point where he might have been aggrieved that he wasn't being picked for the team, but actually you can't build up any consistency and any continuity. And it's not like he'd scored really good, important goals when he had his chance. He wasn't. Do you know what he wasn't? He wasn't Xavier Hernandez, who, when you played him his position, would just score goals. And we never played him in his position, really. I don't think he ever even became that.
I just don't think we had the tools around him for a striker like that.
You look, Nick, we had Kevin Nolan on the channel, right? Did an interview with him, and some people may have seen it. And, he talks about the Big Sam period when everyone knew Big Sam was leaving, how it affected the players. He talks about when people knew Moyes was leaving, how it affected the players. So it stands to reason when a player knows they're basically on the outs. You know what I mean? They're not favoured in. The club is looking to move them on. They're looking to move on. It stands to reason that's going to affect their game. And maybe they're not going to have their full attention and commitment on the games that they're playing. So I don't think, like I said, it's every player, they're getting paid a lot of money. They should always put 100% effort. But it works the same way as it works when a team knows the manager's on the way out, is sometimes that distraction of, I'm focusing on this. You're not 100% all in the moment. And I think that's probably where we are. And it's probably an indictment on us playing him, Nuno continuing to play him. If he
I do understand that. I mean, I know they earn a lot of money, and I know that, at the end of the day, it's a job and you've got to go into work every day. And if it's a miserable place to go into work, it's very hard to get motivated, no matter how much money you're earning. And when you're chucked into a game and you haven't been picked regularly, and all of a sudden you're told, right, go out there and do your job that you haven't been able to do for the last sort of 3-4 months, you haven't been asked to do. And there's a chance that you can hurt yourself and not be able to get away from the place. Maybe that is a natural, a natural sort of repellent to wanting to try hard, and just to make sure you get to the point where you can leave as soon as you can. I just think there's too many people here at this moment in time, and I thought Fullkrug wasn't one of them. And I won't brand him right now. I think I'll listen to what he says when he leaves, because I think he's going to have some. He said when he's here, and I really want to listen to what he's saying when he leaves, because I don't think he's going to want to pull any punches. But I'll wait till judge until then. But I think there's too many people, in my opinion, that can't wait to get out. that can't wait to the point where they can get out and they don't care what happens, you know. And it's
name names. Why not? We don't
name
shy.
names who want to get out.
Don't be
I don't
shy.
think. Well, obviously James Ward-Prowse wants to get out. I think Guillermo Rodriguez wants to get out. I think Diouf come in and he told everyone he wanted to get out as soon as he can. I think I think Kilman would leave if he had the opportunity. I think Todibo definitely would leave if he got the opportunity. I think there's just too many people here that Lucas Paquetá. He's leaving. He's already told everyone he's going to leave for the past 3 seasons. He can't wait to get out the door. These are big players for you. These are your main players that you're meant to be relying on, and they don't care whether you win, lose, or draw, because at the end of the season they'll be out the door.
What do you, Gonzo Gio, particularly? I'm interested to see your thoughts on Giller, because I did see a report. It might have even been from you, actually, Gonzo. Actually, I've been reading some of your articles lately, actually. Well, I click on it, and then I discover they're yours, and I go, all right. But about Guillermo, potentially the club wanting to move him on. And I think there's been a desire in the fan base from this season to see more of Guillermo, what he can offer. He's been brought on in bit parts, and we haven't got to really see impact games. We see that there's a player there with some talent and some pace. But it seems to me, in my opinion, we're sort of prematurely sort of moving him on. Maybe there's something they're seeing behind the scenes that I'm not. But what do you guys think about this talk about moving on Guillermo?
Well, this is probably the biggest indictment of how the club do things wrong out of anything. The truth of the matter is, so it's been a year and a half. We've done nothing with him. You get him in and you've got to have a plan. What are you going to do? We don't play him in the under-21s. We don't loan him out. We don't play him in the first team. We don't sell him. We don't do anything with him at all. I think he would have really benefited last season from a loan in a championship, actually. I think that probably, I don't know if he needs toughening up, but let's say people thought he did, that probably would have done it. I wouldn't be surprised if he could have been one of the best players in the championship last season. I think he really would have done wonders for him, like it did with Freddie Potts. But have a plan, do something, or try and integrate him into the first team. Just try and do something with him. Just try and do something. And we just haven't done any of that. And then it's just such a worry. And this is the problem. This is why we haven't got a director of football. We haven't got someone managing this stuff. We haven't got someone directing operations, which is really what it's all about. At least somebody that has a plan for these players. And then so he's on his third. That is shambolic, really. He's on his third manager now. None of them have really taken to him on fancy, which means there might be some reason there. Maybe they think he's not ready. Okay, fine. Then loan him out. Do something with him. I think it's a complete and utter waste. It wouldn't surprise me. Any of these players, by the way, and almost any of these players, if they went away and they did well somewhere else, which feeds back into what Nicky was saying, is it just the environment that they can't thrive in?
Yeah, I would add to that. When Gonzo said about the 3 managers, also the guy that brought him here is gone as well.
Yeah.
So the guy that wanted him to come to West Ham was given the boot by David Sullivan, but he was signed at the same time as Fulkrug. And I think we've all given up on Fulkrug, but I think I get a sense that we haven't quite given up on Guillermo yet. And I think that tells its own story, really. And I feel sorry for him for the reasons Gonzo said. And I was suspicious when we signed him because I thought, well, what we're going to do with him? Because it felt like we were trying to do Brighton without knowing what Brighton do. It was almost like we bought all the ingredients for a cake, just threw it to put on your kitchen counter and went, right, well, when does it turn into a cake?
Yeah,
right. What happens now? Right, we've got all the bits, and we just didn't have that. Brighton famously buy players and just chuck them back out on loan. They use Union SG a lot as well. And then when they reappear 3 years later, you're like, well, when did Brighton get this guy? And you have a look, and it was actually 3 seasons ago. You just never heard of him because he's never been at Brighton for 3 seasons. And the sad thing for Guillermo is that he's in the position he plays, we're so light in numbers in. We've got Bowen and Somerville, and that's it. And Somerville's been out half the season, and he's still not got game time. We've seen Kyle Walker-Peters played at left wing ahead of him. We've seen Souček played up front ahead of him.
And on the right wing.
Yeah, I don't want to see, exactly. I don't want to see Guillermo striker, but you could put Bowen up there and put Guillermo on the right if you wanted to. He's so far down the pecking order. He's not even on the bench. At the weekend, we had 2 centre-backs, 2 full-backs, 3 central midfielders, no attacking midfielder, and no winger. And he still couldn't get on the bench. And I've seen the Sky Sports thing tonight saying that he wants to stay and fight for his place. And I love that attitude. But if I was his agent, I'd say, mate, just give it up. Like, give it up. You know, we've probably verbally told Fulkrug do one. I don't think maybe we've done that to Giller. Gonzo will know. I don't know. But we're telling Giller by not putting him on the bench by saying, leave. You might as well just go. You got 45 minutes against Bournemouth. You weren't great. I don't think he was that bad, but he certainly wasn't great. And then he got hooked at half-time. He's never really had an opportunity at this club. And I think we've taken a teenager out of South America and put him in London and been like, right, survive. And I think even just a change of culture is a really difficult thing for him, never mind adapting to football in the Premier League and stuff like that. So I think he's had it really tough.
I think it's the lack of opportunities as well. I mean, with the, you know, you look at the way other clubs bleed clubs in, you know, they will let players play until they need to be taken out and then nurture them back in and out, just so they can develop over consistently over a season. And it's like with us, you're either in or you're completely out. You know, look at Skulls. You know, Skulls got a lovely run of games, and you thought, right, he made a couple of mistakes. He had he struggled a little bit in a couple of games, which is a part of the learning process. You cannot learn, and I've always been one of these people that believe greatly in this. You cannot learn until you do something wrong. You know, you can't. You know, it's impossible. So you have to have them games where you get rinsed, so you can go out and work out how not to do it again. And it's like as soon as that happens, they're like, right, get him out of the squad, and he's back to the under-21s, and it's like he's starting all again. And you look at, you know, we had. I know Potts is getting a little run of games in there now, but you know, there's something in me saying if he started to struggle a little bit, they would do the same thing with him. They would get him out and try and wedge someone else in. You know, they try and wedge Rodriguez into the side, or get Souček, rather than let these players develop. And that's what I felt with Giller, mate. It's like he never gets a good sort of 20, 30 minutes at the end of the game to make an impact. He's always on for the last 10 and if he does nothing, you won't see him again for a couple of weeks, and he'll get another 10 or 5. And then all of a sudden you go, right, you're starting now. You'll give him half a game of football and then drag him off and you won't see him again. It's like, you know, you have to sort of like show your faith in these players. And if you don't show your faith in them by, you know, standing by them and saying, no, it's okay to make mistakes, because that is what learning is all about. That's how you learn. You make mistakes to learn. But I just think it's that sort of environment where, you know, there's too much expected from too little. And I think there's.
You say Potts has got a run of games, but in pre-season, he played all the friendlies and Potter dropped him for the first game of the season. He didn't even make a mistake and he was hooked and gone.
And I've got to say this, if he had started him, if he'd have gone with his instincts, his obvious instincts that he was trying out, where would we be? I don't think we'd be where we are. I honestly don't. I think we'd be a bit higher up the table. I think we'd be a bit more solid.
Well, yeah, that midfield he was playing definitely lifted the cost.
It took Souček to get a red card for him to change it. That's when Fernandes came in. Souček got a red card, and he had to be, you know, even the guy who looks brilliant now. But we'll always be baffled at what some of the decisions Potter made. We'll never know.
Yeah, for me, he goes down as, and I'll say like Fulkrug's our worst sign. There's a lot of hyperbole, but for me, he's one of my worst managers in my lifetime. Potter, yeah. I put him up there. Honestly, absolute fraud. But yeah, honestly, do you know what? I'm just sort of freestyling off the cuff here, but I've got you two on, and I'd be interested to see how you guys just feel in general about this season relegation, because, you know, I've given my opinion. I've got quite a bit of backlash when I had the debate with Nicky, and a lot of people saying I'm negative because I feel like we should be worried. I feel like we have something to worry about. I think we might just scrape it, but the fact that I'm not confident and I don't think we're going to comfortably stay up, people sort of see that as negative. I'm interested to see how comfortable and how confident you are in our survival this season, because I'm sorry, whatever people think, if I'm negative, I'm negative. I'm just not as confident as everyone else.
Well, Gio, I said my bit about the stadium earlier. I'm shitting myself, but Gio's not had his say on that yet.
I'm not worried. I'm worried about it from like a content creating side of things, but as a West Ham fan, I'm not worried about it. I've seen relegations before. Some of my favorite games supporting West Ham has been outside.
I mean, are you worried that? Yeah, I mean, not that you're worried.
Hang on. I am angry though that we are in this situation because relegation is a real possibility, and I'm angry that we are even in this situation. When we got Nuno in, to put numbers on it, Dan, when we got Nuno in, because me and Gonzo had this conversation, because someone asked us, one of our patrons said, probability, what do you think the chances are of you going down? And I said, oh, I'm 80% sure. Gonzo's like, well, we're going down. I was like, no, we're staying up. Because Gonzo was 70% sure we were going down, I think. And I was 80% sure we're staying up. But my 80% was firmly on Nuno, because I thought he's a good manager. He'll sort us out. But that 2 games against Brentford and Leeds United shook me when I seen these lineups in the performance. I thought, wow, right, okay, this is like car crash stuff. And that's really dented my confidence. And then the game against Bournemouth. Now, I'm not the Brighton one. I think we deserved to win that game, and I didn't agree with the referee's decision. Therefore, I think we should have won the game. So I think Nuno got that right. But the Bournemouth one, he got very, very wrong. Very wrong. That was on him. We dropped those 2 points. So I'm now like 50-50. And I think it all hinges on January, not just a transfer window, but the fixtures as well. And I think by the end of January, we will have a really good idea if we are staying up or we're going down. But yeah, I'm 50-50 at the minute, Dan.
Yeah, that's understandable. I think a lot of people sort of put stock in the fixtures we have after Man City, you know, Fulham, Brighton, Wolves, Nottingham Forest, right, which are winnable games. However, that to me, they're not givens. Like, I don't look at that and go 3 points, 3 points, 3 points. Like, especially based on what we've seen, to me, the team and the manager have to prove themselves to me. I don't have to. I'm not here to give blind optimism, a blind faith. I want to see that this team can go out and win, and then a draw and win. Like we've struggled to get any wins. I think you've probably got 2 wins under Nuno. I think it is 2 wins and a lot of draws and some losses.
I honestly think this, right? I think that we will survive this season. I think we've got just enough quality. And I think there's players that have come in and showed enough quality, like Fernandes, obviously Bowen, Diouf. I think there's enough quality there just to get through it. I think we can rely on 3 other teams just being worse. I don't think, I'm not. I was very confident the other week, but when you look at the results and the way it's going, and the fact that you're in winning positions and you're still dropping points. It's difficult to take, and it's difficult to look at, and you start to think, like, when is the stability coming? But I do think we'll survive. But my feeling is there is so much work to be done. The whole club needs to be stripped out and redone, like from staff to board to coaches to managers. I think everything needs really needs to be looked at, and to see why we keep on making the same mistakes and why we're making the same mistakes over and over and over again. I don't think this is a 1 season thing. I think this is where we're going to be, because even the players that are going to stand up, like the likes of Souček and Bowen and people like that, who you think you can rely on, they're not going to want to do it again year after year after year. They get to the point when they say it's enough. I'm not staying there to do this every year if you can't sort it out yourself. So I think there is a real long-term possibility that the attraction to the club is just there's nothing there, and that's what I'm saying. In the old days, you could sort of win them over with the closeness of Upton Park or the passion of the fans. And then you're walking into a stadium and it's empty. Every time you see something on a stadium, people are voting it the worst stadium to go to visit in the league, or the worst stadium to go to play in the league, or the worst stadium for a home team. And players look at that and thinking, I don't really fancy that. I don't really fancy going to play for them. They're stuck there. Their fans don't stop whinging. Their ball don't know what they're doing. The players don't want to play for them. And, I just really, feel like there is no long-term plan, and there needs to be something sorted before we go forward.
But this is why, to Gio's point earlier about him not being worried about being in the Championship for West Ham, the reason I feel different, and I felt the same, like the last season was in the Championship, was one of my favourite ever seasons supporting West Ham. Going to the game, we were smashing teams every week. I was there for Brighton 6-0. Great fun. Right, that's what difference is. There's a few things that I'm still on post-match pint is, for me, the positive is the sort of exciting young crop of players that we've got, right? Diouf, Magassa, Fernandes, Potts, and the like, and now Tadebo's starting to come alive. If we go down, we lose a lot of that exciting core. I think Potts will probably stay. Bowen, I think, will go. I think that will just be a step too far for Bowen, but I think we could definitely lose Fernandez, Magassa, Diouf, maybe Somerville. So some of them players we're excited about. And then when we're down there, once we're in, so we're in a complete rebuild. And then we're down in the championship, right? So we haven't got the home stadium advantage, which I think is to our detriment in the relegation fight. Like Elland Road is going to be a great fortress for Leeds this season. But having that in the championship, these championship clubs are going to rock up to our ground, right? Like it's a cup final, like we experienced when we was in the championship last time. But the only difference is for us, it's like a neutral ground there. So they're playing out of their skin. And for us, we haven't got the feeling of home. So I think we're gonna struggle in the championship. So I don't think we'll bounce back up, and we could be there for a while. And it's just where we are. I do worry about that. And I think if we can just stay up and obviously outlast Sullivan, right, and we're doing all the protest stuff, I think we have something to build on for the future. So I think it's for us. I think it's really important we stay up this season.
I agree, Dan, but that's why I'm angry.
Yeah.
They've
mismanaged it this much.
I've almost I'm actually just angry at them. I think part of me thinks you deserve this, and I almost want that opportunity for you to make a load of money off West Ham to disappear, because if we get relegated, it will. And when those offers come to the table to buy West Ham, it won't be anything near that he wants. And part of me thinks, well, that is what you deserve. This is what you deserve. And that's why I'm angry about it, because 2.5 years ago, we just won the Conference League. And you look at the Premier League table now, to go away from West Ham for a second, any team that's in the mid-table right now, Everton, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, anyone in that section should be aiming for European football this season. It is wide open. We should be in there. We should be one of those teams going into January thinking, right, get one good player in, might hit the Europa League. We might get in Europa League next season because it's wide open. Spurs are crap, man. You're inconsistent. Newcastle are struggling this season as well. So there's a real opportunity for someone to go in there. And that's where we should be. 2023 in the summer, we were in the perfect position to go on and build on that and to become effectively what Aston Villa are right now. And we've blown it completely. And we've blown it because the same people make the same mistakes time and time again. And I keep saying it, either they're not good enough or they don't care enough, or they're both. And I think they're both. And that's why I'm angry. So I'm not worried, because I don't know. I think I've gone beyond I think I've just gone beyond it. And I agree with everything you've said, Dan. I think the stadium would be crap in the Championship. I mean, we'll struggle in the Championship, but so be it. It's what they deserve. And like you said, we need to outlast Sullivan. We will. It just might not be in the Premier League.
To be honest. So I think my biggest concern is actually outlasting Sullivan, and his kids take over as well. I think the apple don't fall far from the tree. On that sense, I think the whole thing just feels like a big con. Actually, I think if there ever been any genuine interest in investing in the club and not flipping it, basically, which is what it clearly is looking like it was wanting to be, then we would have seen the improvements in the training ground and stuff like that. I just think it's been in the bare minimum. The bare minimum has been done on everything. Sorry, Nick. Sorry.
Always the minimum. Always.
And I don't. It worries the hell out of me. And you know what? I find myself thinking back to other things. Do you remember during COVID when Sullivan put his wife on the board of directors so as she could go to games? It's things like that, and it just always felt like there's so much nepotism with the board as well. You hear so many things about players that get selected, and I also think, to a lesser extent, and I'm guilty of this, Kretinsky, because he's not seen as complicit, he almost gets away scot-free. We need him. I need him to try and force the issue. Go and buy the gold shares. Go and do something. Go and help us out. It's like, the comment there, the board deserve it, but the fans don't. This is absolutely it. And I just think our best chance of being taken over, and I know this, I've heard someone say it today, our best chance of being taken over is to be relegated. The truth of the matter is we're all guessing, we don't know. I think it won't be. I think the best chance we've got is that Sullivan might have shit himself now, and he might think, whoa, this is close.
Yeah.
And then someone buys a Premier League club, because then you do stand half a chance. If we get relegated, then he would have had a figure in his mind. So when they bought the Icelandic shares, I think him and Gold spent 50 million, right? I think they then bought up more of the shares and spent another 50 million. So I think Gold and Sullivan put £100 million in the first year, 18 months. I might have that slightly wrong, but it's not a million miles away. They would have had a figure in their mind. So, right, we'll spend 100 million and we'll get 800 million back, or whatever it is. The thing that worries me is we are dealing with someone that's really, really stubborn here. And I'm sure anyone that's a billionaire is probably stubborn anyway. You're going to have to be to get to that. But we've seen it before with so many things. It's like the director of football thing. David Sullivan honestly believes the reason he didn't reappoint someone after Tim Steidten was because he honestly believes he can do a better job. This is a stubborn man. And us getting relegated, him thinking, well, hold on a second, this is my asset and this is worth 800 million because I said so. No, and that would be because there is no infrastructure there. We've got all these ambitious clubs. Leeds have got a new training ground planned and they've got some big plans for Ellen Road. We've all seen that the Birmingham City stuff. It's absolutely crazy. Even just like the infrastructure of teams like Brentford, we're embarrassing. And there's always one or two teams every season who become a bit more professional than West Ham, and they can't do the job. They're incompetent at it, and they don't surround themselves with experts. I think this is the other thing. Everybody else, like that Bill Foley at Bournemouth, he surrounds himself with experts. He didn't know who Iraola was. He got an expert and he went and identified him. We don't. They think as a little collective, like the Sullivans and Brady and that group. And I do think they're separate from the other members of the board, who I think are detached. They're off doing their own thing. Got Trip Smith in America. Kretinsky's doing his thing with the Royal Mail and his energy company in France. So I think you've got all this little collective who are making, and they aren't. And that whole thing, there's two things that always ring in my mind. They're playing Football Manager, like they're playing Football Manager like on a computer. And the other thing that I thought was the best thing I've ever heard, the analog ownership in a digital age. Is that it? Is that what it's said?
Yeah.
Really good one. That, yeah. So I really think we're screwed, royally screwed if we go down.
Well, I've got a little prediction. I've got a little sort of conspiracy theory, and listen to. I think Kretinsky is not stepping in because there's all these things about he's refusing to invest. I think he's letting him suffocate himself, and I think when he suffocates himself, he'll come in and he'll go, "How much did you want for these shares? How much did you want for that club?" And I think he's going to get it for a lot cheaper. I think he's seen the chaos in that club, and I think he's seen the madman running it. The lunatics running the asylum, and he's thinking, just let this implode, and then I'll just take it, for pennies, for peanuts. I honestly do. I honestly think that's the case.
What if you operate a high-level business, which he obviously does? You must look at West Ham and think, well, this is not how it's. Never mind football, just business. This is not how it's done.
Yeah.
It's also what he's done historically in business as well. I mean, you could argue that's what he's doing with the Royal Mail, buying them when they're at a low and try and put your investment in, use your expertise, get them back to a place of where they should be or could be, and then get out. And at the minute, we are not at a position of get out, but we're possibly not low enough for him to put more in. So like Nicky's saying there, maybe if we do go down, he thinks, I'll have a bit of this, thank you very much. Because the other thing is, we've got that push and pull clause in there, and we assumed that, well, I did assume that it was quite straightforward, which is if Kretinsky wants to buy shares at this price, he can. But there might be one in there that's if we're in the championship, the shares now this price, and he might be thinking, well, I'll have a bit of that, thank you. I'm not, because he's not going to pay what he paid a few years ago. Because a few years ago, when we come in, we were in a much better place then. The stadium was better than it was now, in the sense that it's getting worse every season.
I don't understand how that's working. How that's happening, to be honest.
Yes. So, but he maybe is sitting there just waiting, because you do wonder, well, why are you not getting involved? Because he could, if he wanted to, get more shares tomorrow, put the money in, use it for January, and probably get us out of the relegation or keep us in the Premier League anyway. But he's not doing it, and he's not doing it for a reason. And it can't be because of his ownership in Czechia, because that only counts if you're in the same competition. We're a million miles away from being in European football, so that's not a problem. So he's not having that one. He's not allowed to use that as a reason for it. So if we all believe that Kutinski's only invested in West Ham to make money, us going down is not going to help him do that. The only way that would help him do that is if he bought us when we're in the Championship, got us into the Premier League, and then he got out.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You know
what?
Shall we read some of these comments?
Well, yeah, sorry, mate. So 1 second. I've also got to touch on this as well because Dan got a little bit of criticism earlier on in the season when he was on TalkSport for suggesting that we may find an owner that would want to move out of the stadium, and Simon Jordan.
He said nothing wrong then, Dan. He said nothing wrong then,
and he said, "I'll behave." He said, and now you see every club is being built in a stadium. People like Birmingham are building stadiums.
Yeah.
And that is a big city. That's probably the second biggest city rather than the capital city. And Birmingham City are building a stadium now. So, it is possible, and it's not a pipe dream to expect a businessman to come in and think this is not good for business, and to get, our business running again, we need to make a place where the customers want to come.
Yeah. Well, that's it. If you're playing, 18 neutral games a season in the league, essentially, you're operating at a handicap, and every season
it's about the neutral games. I think it's actually about the customer. I mean, it's been voted over and over and over again as the worst ground to visit, and when you have to go there week in, week out, like I fucking do, it's fucking miserable. I'm as miserable now as I was when I fucking went there 10 years ago. And that's the God's honest truth.
That all contributes to the atmosphere, Nick, in terms of success on the pitch, and that's what it's all about. If you're on a club,
I'm just saying, like, you get away with professional playing football. You buy a good professional. You bought a team like Man City, they would play well regardless if they was playing on fucking Hackney Marshes or in the London Stadium. It doesn't matter. But what you can't do is you can't bring back people that who think it's a shithole. You can't keep on expecting people to come back year after year after year when it's getting worse and fucking worse.
Let me quickly get through these comments. I'll just get some thoughts on tomorrow's game. You've got a few starred up here. Nino says, "I'm resigned to the fact we're going down." Sorry, Gio and Gonzo.
We're going to put them at
yeah, before you go, I'm resigned to the fact
that we're at the bottom here. Look,
that's unfortunate. That never should have signed him. He was too old to adapt. Irons TV. It was never going to work out. A target man with no pace, feeding off scraps. Ridiculous recruitment. We've done that time and time again. Good old Trudge. Fulkrug was carrying long-term injuries when he signed. Just another Zuma, but we got 1 good year out of Zuma. I'd say maybe a year and a half, 2 years. I think we did. First game
was solid. I'll be honest. I think he was one of the better signings. Injuries are a part.
He'd be in the team now, wouldn't he?
The other thing is, though, Zuma played when he was 80%. Fulkrug won't.
Yeah,
there's a big difference between the two.
Yeah. Vlasic at 30 got to be up there. Shoot me, right? I'm not a Vlasic hater. I think Vlasic didn't get a fair shot at West Ham. Personally, he never really got played in his natural position.
No, but he never proved anyone wrong, Dan. I think that's the thing. You may well find Giller may go somewhere and prove someone wrong. I know it's Fulkrug in terms of the comparison, but he did turn out to be massively overpriced. I think.
I
think he should. I think he should have done. I think
he's not.
We continually do this. We don't give people a chance, or we don't buy for the right position, and so on. I just think after he went. Where did he go? Torino. Did he go Torino?
Torino.
Yeah. I don't think he got a chance.
I don't think he's ever been a world beater at West Ham, but I think Matmo, decent squad. I don't think he's as bad for me to put him up there. What we paid for him, though, and what we got, you could probably say it. Strong like a maggot, bloody hell. Stuyton, I felt, only got Fulkrug because we never signed Samuel Oridian or Duran, which was frustrating. The Duran saga. Do you just quickly, guys? Duran, I've said we had this little chat about Duran, and I've sort of said it's a blessing in disguise because it seems to be since he's moved on, attitude problems, turn up late for training. He hasn't really gone on to much fame and fortune.
But he might have had a banger for 6 months. We might have sold it for 80 million. So it might have been a very, very good profit. True. We're talking about is such a financial loss, Fulkrug. He might have been all of those things, but we might have made an absolute fortune. I still think if he'd have had that sort of season, Saudi would have bought him. But then again, that's relying on Lopetegui getting that out of him because that's who he would have played under.
Yeah. Honestly,
It's a difficult one, right? Because I think Duran was a fantastic player, and I was thinking to myself, this could be one for the future. We could get a real bargain here, especially at 35, 40 million. Yeah. And then the minute I see him start doing this on the Instagram when he's playing for Villa, I start to think, hold on a minute. You know what I mean? No, there's something not right there. You know what I mean?
I think he's one of them nutters, though, that we would love at West Ham. Do you know what I mean?
Probably.
Like, he's just one of them fucking
you're right, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem with us is we take in a nutter, we take in a bastard, and then we moan about him being a bastard. We watched Arnautovic stab Stoke in the back to get to West Ham, and then we started moaning when he done the same thing to us.
I defended him. I said that.
So did I. I said, look, when you swim with sharks, don't complain when you get bitten.
Yeah.
But I think the same with Duran. Actually, I think I was up for the gamble. It was a gamble. He clearly had attitude problems at Aston Villa and stuff. And I think historically, we've always enjoyed someone like that at West Ham. You hear stories about how Tevez didn't even train Monday to Friday. Then on a Saturday, he'd rock up and be the best player. But everyone just went, yeah, right, he's the best player. But I think Duran needs to be the main character. I think he's that type of player. He has to be the number 9. He needs the fans singing his name. He needs to be on pens. He needs the ball coming in. If you're through and goal and he's next to you, you better pass it to him. Do not knock into that empty net yourself. Give it to him. And I think if you do that with someone like Duran, I think he would become a success. But here's the thing. All signings are a gamble one way or another. It's up to whoever's in charge of transfers to reduce the risk as much as possible with as much due diligence as possible. And Fulkrug was always a risk because of his age, because of his injury record. I think Duran's only risk was his attitude, because there's no doubt about his age, there's no doubt about his talent or anything like that. It was just, can you sort him out a little bit?
The Harry Redknapp player, wasn't he?
He was, but unfortunately, like Gonza said, we had Lopetegui. Now we know what we know about Lopetegui, which was he was scrapping.
He would have had a fight with him. Lopetegui would have fought.
He was scrapping with Areola, Kudus, Tadibo. So you'd have definitely, him and Duran would have definitely had it out with each other, possibly even on the touchline. But
imagine if him and Kudus was in the same channel.
but because I was actually quite anti-Lopetegui, I think I'd have been all right with Duran putting one on him in the end. But
Tadibo did.
But here's the thing, right? He's on loan at Fenerbahce at the minute because they play Villa soon. Fenerbahce play Villa in the Champions League, so Duran plays Villa. And if he was available in the summer, I'd still have him, Duran. Yeah. Even though he's still going on and caused more bother elsewhere. I'm willing to say it's because it's Saudi, didn't settle in culture. Yeah. I'm willing to say that.
I think Nuno, considering what he's done with Tadibo, I would trust Nuno, if Nuno's still here by that point, with just sorting Duran out. If he's able to get Tadibo in line and sort him out, then maybe he could do something for Duran.
Yeah. But he's one of them players where, I've seen talent now. And it's worth, he's another Di Canio,
Balotelli.
Talent in the world, but, fucking trouble. If you can sort him out and get his head down, and he's a lot younger than Di Canio as well. I think there's a player there. It's like Balotelli. I always thought about this about Balotelli. Balotelli was fucking crackers. There's stories about him fucking. His mum sent him out to buy him up, and he come back with a moped and a bouncy castle or something like that. And
he started chucking. He drove around chucking his wages around in Manchester, giving out money.
He lit fireworks in his bathroom.
Any wonder that we were linked to him season after season?
Yeah. But I would have taken him. Because I think he would have, resonated with this crowd. I think the crowd would have loved him.
I don't think he would have banged the goals in for us. I
reckon he would have. But he's never know. But we do love damaged goods. Payet was damaged goods.
It's true.
Payet was damaged goods, and we saw. We shot.
Well, I know he damaged himself when he come here, didn't he? Really? I mean, we didn't know when there was any issues until he come here and.
Payet.
What happened? Yeah.
Yeah, Payet. Yeah. Do you know what? There was. I found an interview with Payet actually because I was watching him the other day. There was an interview saying we only got Payet because he was, he had issues. If we, if he didn't have issues, we wouldn't have got him.
Yeah.
For 12 million.
Shout to Toffee and says, "I'm going to tell my kids this was the Avengers." Brian says, Nicky, Dan, Gio, and Gonzo, if you could find a striker in January, which players would you want? Well, I mean, we've just talked about Duran, which I get, but how realistic do we want to go?
Well, Ivan Toney, he's got it all. He's your bad boy, damaged goods, the betting saga. He punched someone on the nose the other night for trying to take a selfie of him. This is brilliant. What more do you want? And he guarantees goals.
Also, he said, fuck Brentford when he was still playing for Brentford. Let's not forget that.
That's what you need.
Yeah, that was one I think I've said in the past. It's the market is really bad at the moment, isn't it, in terms of...
There's a couple of good players in the Championship. I'd give one of them a go. At least you know they're going to give their fucking all. That's, you know... I wouldn't want another prima donna. I've got a question here that I think we should ask before we start going off here, and while we've got another 2 content creators, it would be perfect time. How will relegation impact YouTubers?
We'll have more games to talk about.
I'm sure this is something you always have thought about, because it's definitely something we've
always. Yeah, of course.
We've talked about it.
So this is my take on it, and obviously you might have different views. I don't think it'll be affected too much. I'll be honest with you, because you know the size of the club is the size of the club, and mostly the people we have watching are fans of the club. Dropping out of the Championship, dropping that down to the Championship, I think there will be a lot of focus on us initially. So there will be a lot of teams, fans coming to the YouTube channel to see what we're saying about the team that they don't like that are down there, that you know they don't want to get back up. As that starts to drop off, I think it will start to even out a little bit, and the interest, if we didn't come back up, the interest would drop off initially. But I still think we'd have a solid fan base. And listen, I know these boys are the same, and we're the same. We don't do YouTube, because it's going to be bad if we go down. We do YouTube because we love talking about West Ham, and we're fans of West Ham, and we always love West Ham. Obviously, some of us have got jobs in this industry now, and you have to think about that. But I do think there's enough support out there, and there's enough interest in our club. And as you know, as the battle rages on with the ownership and trying to find our club back, there will be people that want to know what's going on, and there will always be people watching.
Yeah, we did all right. We did all right during COVID. I think that's everyone sort of looked after each other during COVID. But I'm talking
all
about
stuck inside. There's nothing else to do. It was watch us or Tiger King.
That's a good point. Tiger King was good, wasn't it? With the first series.
I get a lot of that. Discovered during COVID. Started watching your watch-alongs in COVID.
Yeah. Most of them are still at home, Gio. To be fair. It's a lot of people still working. I did a video, I can't remember, 6 months ago or something. I said, where are you watching this? What are you doing? Because I uploaded it at like 11 o'clock on a Wednesday or something. And when you saw the numbers, how come so many people are watching? And I said, what are you up to? And the amount of people that were actually saying, well, I work from home now, and they weren't obviously doing what they were supposed to be doing. They were watching, they were listening to me talk about West Ham. So yeah, I do agree, Nick. I also think if we got taken over, I think then you'd have everyone would be hopeful again. So I do think you'd have that.
I think it'd be fine. I think it'd be fine.
I mean, listen, I've spoke to people that do Leeds channels and Norwich channels, things like that. They always say, Leeds creators I spoke to said they did better in the Championship in terms of viewership and interest for some reason. That the games, I guess the stakes were bigger rather than just being a team that's just looking to survive in the Premier League. They were one of the big boys in the Championship. Each game, they were seen as if they lost the game, they were the big fish basically in the small pond. So yeah, I think we'll be fine in terms of YouTube. More games to cover. What is it? There's 46. Yeah, was it 46 games? Yeah.
Hey, Dan, you're on that Fanalytics as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
We'll get dropped.
Oh yeah, I think we'll get.
It's a Premier League thing, isn't it? I think we get dropped from the starting 11. What they call? They got a name. They got a name for the founders or whatever. I can't remember.
We're fanalists or we're
fanalists. That's it. We're fanalists. We'll be fannying off. I'll tell you that much. That's what'll happen.
Gio was sitting with a couple of fannies. Is that right?
No, but they did say they're adding the Championship in the future.
I'm a big.
Michael McIntyre.
We're done. We're done.
At least then I won't have to
Jordan,
remember to do my
he'd go
rating.
to Simon Jordan. We said, Dan Lawless, who's this?
Yeah.
Me
Yeah,
and
could've
Nicky will
played-
be all right on OnlyFans. That's where
will.
we are when you're on
Yeah, we'll be
Fanalix.
fine, we'll be
Yeah. Oh yeah, Nicky back on his OnlyFans. But it's weird. Like I get where Gio was coming from early with the not worry, because I understand. I'm almost like numb to the fact that we could definitely go down. Like on one hand, I see the real issue of how it could affect the club. On the other hand, it's just like, you know, I mean,
Well,
I'm almost numb to it.
It ties in with what Nicky said, which is if we do survive, there's a good chance this will just get repeated next season. Unless something drastic changes in the summer, we're just gonna go again.
Yeah.
And I remember when like you speak to fans of other clubs and stuff, and when you speak to I remember speaking to the Ipswich fan last season at the end of the season. We played them at the end of the season. They're already down. And he was like, what's the point of being in the Premier League? He's like, it's not fun. We get smacked every week. He's like, I can't wait to get down there and start winning games again. He's like, I don't look forward to football anymore. He said, what's the point? We turn up, get beat, turn up, get beat. He said, what's the point? He said,
I've heard that a lot.
The difference for them was they couldn't compete financially. We can. We're just not very good at it. So if you were to flip it to a West Ham thing, it would almost be like, what's the point? We're crap at what we do.
We'd probably be crap in the Championship as well. Though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Just winning every week. Brilliant. Yeah.
But the difference is we will be incredibly rich in that league. Like we will be. We'd be so rich in that league with parachute payments and stuff as well. We'd go down there, and we are still, even if we got relegated, for up until like the set of accounts would come out covering this season. So halfway through the Championship season, the set of accounts for this season would come out. We'd be like the 16th richest club in European football. That's how rich we would be. So we'd be able to just, as long as we do it half right, we don't even need to do it. I think we need to get January 100% right to stay up. If we went down, we'd probably only need to get it 50% right, being with a really good chance of coming back up again, because we could afford the best striker. We'd be able to afford the best midfielders. And I know we talk about the lack of appeal to come to West Ham, but I tell you what, if you're in Championship and West Ham get relegated, that's probably where you're going to want to go. That's what we did.
You're selling it on me now.
You do, don't you? You build like a Championship team of the season, don't you? You think, I have a bit of him and a bit of him.
I want to win the Championship.
I think
it kills me we haven't won it. We've done the playoff.
I don't think we've got the bollocks for it. I really don't. I do not think we've got the bollocks for it, and I do not think we've got the fight for it.
Who hasn't got the bollocks? Who are you, when you say we, who are you talking about? The players, the fans, the owners? No, but when you say
under these owners, I don't think we'd come back up.
No, I agree.
No, but I think Gio has actually, because the ownership's a shambles, right? But we had them when we went down last time. The attraction of West Ham, we may just, same way with Europe, you know, we've always been run like absolute clowns, but they stumbled themselves into fucking qualifying for Europe season after season after season, winning the fucking thing.
I think it's a different kettle of fish.
Just in anything. And like I said, I actually want to win the Championship because it bugs me that we've done it through the playoffs. I actually just want to win the league. And we could say, okay, we've done that. We've ticked that off, mate. We've won the Championship.
I'm all right I'm all right not ever winning that trophy.
Do you know what the harsh reality is? And I'm going to shock a few people when I say this, right? The way the club's run at the minute, right? I won't worry about getting promoted again. I'd worry about getting relegated again. And that is a God's honest truth. I would worry about going down another step because... Hold
up. You were Mr. Positive. Serious. I was Mr. Negative, right? Because I said there's a good chance we could go down. Now you're talking about fucking getting relegated again.
I'm you're Mr. Saying, Positive. I'm Mr. Negative. When you look at, you know, the circumstances which we come up twice before, and we've struggled to get out of that league. Let's be honest. There was a couple of times when we struggled to get out of it. One time we didn't get out of it, and we're meant to be the superstar of the Championship. We ain't built for that league now. You know, there is nothing about us that is built for that league. There is no infrastructure there. There is no manager there. There's no fans there to will them back.
All right, Dan, you'll be able to tick off winning League One in a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
He's put the open top plus already.
I'll be there.
That's the truth. If we go down, I would really worry about going back down again.
Yeah, I mean, Sunderland done it. They that famous Netflix series where Sunderland went down. They thought, brilliant, let's get over there and film them coming back up, and actually film them getting relegated again. Went to film a dream and filmed a nightmare, I think it was labelled up. And it was hard to watch that as a football fan. You're thinking, my word, because we're filming like match-going Sunderland fans at the start of the season, like, oh, yeah, hopefully we'll get back up. And at the end of it, they were just heartbroken. They couldn't believe what was happening in front of their eyes. They got relegated twice on the match. And I know Luton's done it, but with respect to Luton, they are a much, much smaller club than us. Like, they just...
Do you know what? We still get idiots in the media go, what do they want? They want a European trophy.
Yeah, but
what do they want?
You know what, as well, that sort of helps people back when clubs like West Ham go down to the Championship. And I remember this first game in the Championship when we went down in 2003. We turned up at Preston, and we went there. I think it was Preston. No, it wasn't Preston. It was a different club. Sorry, we got beat by someone, and we went there and we refused to change in their changing rooms because it wasn't big enough.
I think it was Preston. I'm crap with times. Is that not when we picked up Neil Mellor on the way to the game?
Yeah, I think I think it was a different. I think it was a smaller club that we actually lost to a bit later on, and we went there and we said, no, we're not changing in the chat. They're not good enough. Rotherham. It might. Yeah, I think it was Rotherham. Yeah. So we're not changing it. They're not big enough for, we've got a team full of superstars. And I think they just fucking wound everyone up. When they started playing us, I think they think, right, these are fucking prima donnas. Yeah. This is going to be 10 times worse now. We're 20 years down the line.
And even last time, it was enough to hire Sam Allardyce. He went and got his captain, Kevin Nolan, who was, a brilliant finisher and a brilliant captain. And that was enough just.
Yeah, we almost bottled it. We just about got up. Considering we kept Carlton Cole, we got Kevin Nolan. We had players that were too good for that league. So yeah, it's dicey. Well, look, before I do want to touch on tomorrow's game.
I forgot.
Do we have a chance in?
I've forgotten. I'm going. I've got to leave at 6.
Yeah. Before you go, do we have a fucking chance in hell of winning this game?
Oh, winning? No.
Oh, right, yeah. No, nothing. Point. I mean, we're picking up a lot of draws. We could shit out a draw, but I can't see it, lads. I just the way that we play, the way that Nuno approaches games, and I sound like a Nuno hater. I'm not even Nuno out, but just this approach of, let's just try and get a goal. And let's just try to sit back and soak up pressure. I just don't think it's going to work against Man City. I think they've got too much. I don't think Nuno's way of just trying to meekly, scrape something out of the game is going to work. I just think they've got too much quality there. And I think we have to be somewhat brave. And I think other teams have gotten something against Man City through being brave. And I just don't think we will. And I just think it's going to be a routine loss.
I think some of the teams that got points against City earlier on, till Foden was not firing earlier on in the season. He's only just come good in the last month or so. So I think it was a different City. I think they've started to click a little bit. I think they were quite inconsistent earlier on and not so much anymore. And also there's no Champions League game during the week. I know they played the Carabao Cup, but they rested Haaland, for example. Yeah. So, and also I think they've got motivation with Arsenal at the minute because they are breathing right down their necks. And I think at the start of the season, it was almost like, oh, bloody hell, Arsenal keep winning. And they just look like this juggernaut. Whereas now, Arsenal are starting to look a little bit rocky with a lot of injuries. And City know that if they keep winning, they could go top the league anytime soon. So unfortunately, all the motivation under the sun that City need is there. It's going to be a difficult one. I'm already looking at the 4 games after Man City. Honestly, I'm already looking at that, and I'm more worried. This sounds weird. I'm more worried about Leeds playing Crystal Palace than I am us playing Man City, because I've accepted we're going to get beat. But I'm thinking, please, Palace, for the love of God.
He did rest some players, didn't they?
Well, Glasner's actually named his starting 11 for tomorrow already.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, because they had that Conference League game last night, so the kickoff's only 48 hours apart. So he did his press conference today, and he basically said, what are you going to do? He said, I'll tell you exactly what I'm going to do. And he named his starting 11, but it's just the 11 that didn't play because that's all he's got. So it's the good news, though, for us is that it's what you would consider Palace's starting 11. There's obviously a couple of players injured, like Munoz and Sarr's away to African Cup of Nations, I think, which is strange because Sarr's playing for Senegal, and I'm pretty sure Diarra of Sunderland is Senegalese, but he's playing for Sunderland this weekend. So I don't know how they've managed to wangle that.
I think the youth and
yeah, exactly. So I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Diarra is playing for Sunderland this weekend. Yet Juif's away.
Yeah,
mad. I mean, guys, do you have any hope? Are you like? Because I'm like, yeah. Look at the other games.
Yes, I know. I just don't think we got. I think a team can sit back and hit them on the break. I just don't think we've got the pace to hit them on the break and do anything effective there, really. And he has. Foden is like one of the best players in the league at the moment, and him and Cherky, and then arrested Haaland, who's been watching West Ham apparently with his girlfriend. So he's probably sussed out everything that we're bad at. I just can't see it. You're right, Dan. He will sit there and he will try and soak it up. The thing is, we know this. We know this style of football because we had so much of it under Moyes. So we tend to know how this stuff goes. It's not. I think we've got almost like that football PTSD when we sit back and we just soak it up and we against the big boys. So we've seen this time and time again. Merry Christmas, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Rich. Yeah, you're right.
You know what? You want to know the harsh reality. And I'm going to give you a scary, harsh reality here. This is a game normally that you turn around and go, this is a write-off. This is a write-off. But we've got to go there and hope we get something and pray that we get something and try to get something. There's no write-off games in the position we're in.
We can't afford write-offs.
No, we can't afford write-offs because, we're not consistent enough and everyone else ain't consistent enough. So we can't afford it. So we have to go there and try. Do I think we're going to get something? Absolutely not. Absolutely not at all.
That's the thing. As Gio said, they're going for the league and they've got the motivation of Arsenal. We should have the motivation of our very survival. Even if the players that are thinking, I'm going next season, have some professional pride, not to have a relegation on your CV.
I think we've got that, Dan. I think we've got it. We're just not good enough.
Yeah.
Or brave enough.
I don't think
we've been playing well in games, but like I said, we just haven't got it.
Enough players.
We got a good midfield. It seems like funny enough, you said stumbled. We stumbled upon. So I think we stumbled on a good midfield.
Sorry, Ryan, if you super chat with me. Put it in as a non-super chat, and I'll read it out. Sorry if we've missed that, mate. Just put it in as normal when we're.
I think I seen it earlier. It said, "Can't believe Dan hates Nuno."
Yeah,
that's Nuno. Listen, no one hates Nuno like Scott. Scott is number one. Nuno.
I don't know why. I don't know whether we've had a little bit of beef before or something.
Do you know what? Scott does this thing right where he preempts all the managers and he hates them from day one. So when we eventually sack him, he goes, "See, I was right."
Maybe he's Scott's related to James Ward-Prowse.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Could be. Well, same forehead.
Although Nicky's James Ward-Prowse #1 fan, the next Beckham.
You know what? I still think he's got a role to play, but there we go. That's he's not going to get in there, is he? Let's be honest. But there we go.
So,
should we wrap it up there?
Well, let's get a prediction.
Okay, prediction.
If there's anything radical you'd do with this starting 11, that we could change up, but do
you know what I'd do? God's honest truth, I'd give Guillermo a game. Why not? You know what I mean?
Who would you drop?
You know what? I'd drop Somerville.
What? You did a video the other day saying drop Paqueta.
Well, I definitely want to drop Paqueta. Yeah, I forgot he was playing. Yeah, definitely drop him. Yeah, definitely drop him. But I would be tempted to drop Somerville. I don't think his final product is quite good enough, and we can't afford him to get injured again in a game like this, to be honest, going forward. So, yeah. But
he's one of my first names on the team sheet for this weekend, Somerville, because I think he's got the pace to worry City. I think he's actually one of the players that can maybe. I have the same concerns over his finishing, but I think he's possibly the only player that can get us close to their box to have a shot in the first place. So I think he'd be someone I'd get on and get high up the pitch as possible. And I think we just need to go. If we are going to, the teams I do see have success against City at times is those that are not afraid to go long and go direct. Don't try and outpass them. It's not going to work. But City don't mind one-on-one defending on the halfway line. And while it's admirable, it gives you an opportunity there. If you can get Somerville in behind Diaz or Gavardio and see what you can get. But I don't know. It feels like we're discussing how to get a 2-0 defeat instead of a 3-0 defeat, really.
Yeah.
I just hope he doesn't do the Skulls thing on the right. because the 2 occasions we've seen it, we've seen actually he's had Walker Peters there. Walker Peters, so do the other side. So I hope he doesn't do the switcheroo there. And I think more than anything else, I hope he doesn't drop either Magassa, Potts, or Fernandez to accommodate Paqueta because he started Wilson. So basically, if he's thinking I'm going to start with Wilson, so I can't have a false 9, right? I'm going to start with Paqueta. I'm going to take one of those 3 out of the team because none of them deserve it.
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah, I would just basically stick with what he's done, but slot in Skulls left back, Kyle Walker Peters, who I think was really good. And he's unlucky that Wan-Bissaka is so good that's keeping him out of the team. Because I really like what I've seen from Walker Peters. So yeah, he's banging there. But yeah, I agree. I would agree with you, Gonzo. If anyone has to come out, it's Paqueta. Like, he deserves to be dropped. And then you can have Somerville. And I get what Nicky said, because part of you do look at it and think we're unlikely to win, so maybe you could save Somerville. But at this point, we can't afford to write off games, and there's not that many games because we're not in Europe. So just play Somerville, and I would have like Somerville maybe ready to come off 60th minute, depending on how the game goes, and have a Giller on there. Because look, I think this game matters, even if we lose. Like, if we get rolled over, that's a massive like knock to the confidence. If we really battle for something and we lose 2-1 or something, but the players can come out with some respect and we can all go, yeah. I think that's a real important sort of psychological thing going into the next game. We need to go into Fulham with some level of confidence and performance, and not just get smashed 4-0, and then it affects you. So saying that, what's the score going to be, lads?
2-0.
3-0.
4-0.
You've got to go 1-0.
Yeah. For me to bring 1-0 with Haaland and our defense, is madness. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm gonna say 3-1 Man City. We're gonna get a goal. We're capable of scoring goals. They're capable of conceding goals. I think we'll get one. I think it'll be 3-1 City.
It's so full of doom and gloom over at the club at the moment. We forgot to mention it's actually fucking Christmas. And
Merry Christmas!
Hey, Merry Christmas,
everybody. We didn't briefly mention it, but we have mentioned not one mention of it. It is the closest show we've got till Christmas. So everybody that's been watching us all of this year, from us all here at West Ham Fantasy, but I'm sure all at Hammers Chat as well.
Absolutely.
We wish you a very Merry Christmas, and it's something very important that I need to say, and I'd say it every Christmas. Christmas is a great time, and it is a time to be with family, but it is also a time where people struggle with mental health and struggle with the being lonely and having nothing at this time of year. So if you are struggling, and if you are feeling a bit down this Christmas and why everyone else is carried away with their families, please do not hesitate to reach out to someone and talk to someone, because there is people out there that can help, and nobody should be suffering over Christmas. But there we go. I say that every year, and hopefully you're not one of them and you don't need the help. But everyone, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a happy, well, we'll be back before New Year, so I won't say that, but wish you a very Merry Christmas, and I hope you get everything you get, including 3 points at Manchester City.
Yeah. Well, we will be back before Christmas. That's without a doubt.
We will be back. Yeah. We will.
Watch along tomorrow. My watch along, and I think Gio is doing a watch along. So hop back and forth, or have both on, or pick one, whatever you want. But we're both doing watch alongs. Fan cams after the game. You can also check out Gonzo Hammers Chat Forum. He'll be having a reaction to the game, and Gio will be doing his highlights discussed as well after the game. So lots and lots between the four of us, 3 channels. There's lots of content.
And on Christmas Day, I'll be live on Christmas Day first. Or anyone on their Todd with nothing to do, I'll be live with Charlie for an hour. So we'll keep you company for an hour.
Charlie's back.
Just for one special.
Alone.
One special. When he did his transfer, he put that in his clause that he has to do Christmas Day on Hammers Chat. That was, he's a good man, Charlie.
Brilliant. Well, no, listen, lads, I really appreciate you both for coming. It's been a pleasure. It's been nice.
Boys.
Been a long time coming, this one, to be honest.
Yep. And yeah, we definitely got to do it again, 100%.
Definitely.
So listen, thank you all for watching. Do check out. You done the final one standing thing, Nick? Did you?
Yes, I did it. Yeah, but you can go and check out the final one standing. 100k jackpot this week. It's 3 p.m. deadline tomorrow. Terms and conditions do apply. You can find them in the link in the description. You must be over 18, UK or Ireland resident, and please gamble responsibly.
All right. So enjoy the rest of your Friday night, everyone. I'm back down the Roundhouse now, my local. Have a few drinks with Jason, Damo, and that, and enjoy your evenings, everyone. So thank you all for watching. Thank you to Gonzo and Gio. And one thing left to say, come on, you irons.